So, at the age of just 21 years, Mpumalanga-born Decent Mkhombo has become the youngest medical doctor in South Africa. What were you doing when you were 21? He's graduated with a medical degree from the University of Limpopo just last week. Mkhombo was allowed to enroll into medical school when he was just 15 years old, and after being able to skip several grades in his high school education due to his academic excellence. For more on the journey and what on earth goes on in that mind, let's bring in the academic star himself, Dr. Mkhombo, joining us via our video link. And it's great to have you on the program, sir. Thanks very much indeed for speaking to us. I must say, you're looking more like a 21-year-old than a medical doctor at this stage. So shout out to that, and keep the coolness going. Let's begin by just how you're taking the attention that you're receiving, especially in a context where it appears academic excellence has always been part of your vibe, so to speak.
Yeah, it's been kind of overwhelming because I haven't gotten this much attention to this degree. You know, people who would never even say hi to me now are saying hi to me. It's a lot to take in, but I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the positive messages. I'm grateful for the people who say hi to me on social media and in person. It means a lot. I don't take it lightly. Right.
But as I mentioned, this is something that's begun for you several years ago. I mean, the idea of being able to skip grades is something, an experience that not many South Africans have had. How would you describe what your academic journey has been like?
You know, growing up I was very narrow-minded. I didn't really see myself through other people's eyes, you know. So for me, it was one of those things that happened. It seemed quite normal for me, and it wasn't anything I couldn't deal with, you know. It didn't seem like anything spectacular, you know. So all my life, I've been the youngest in my class, the youngest in any situation for that matter, and it's nothing that brings me down, actually. It actually makes me want to prove myself more all the time.
Yeah, interesting you say that, because being the youngest in the room can also come with an incredible amount of pressure. For one, once people find out how old you are, I'm sure some of them will look down on you and think to themselves, oh, okay, here's another young one who's going to try, you know, be in our midst. How has something like that affected, you know, your ability to even keep pushing?
I feel like, you know, like challenges like that help you develop as a person. You know, you become a tough person and an assertive person at that. And even recently I faced that, like in my medical school, the final year, when we had new students who were not there from first year, and I had to reassert myself to say, because I'm younger than you doesn't mean you should disrespect me, and when I speak you should listen, because what I say is something of merit, something that has value, you know. And I'm grateful for all of that because it made me the person I am today.
Sure. What comes with being able to pull off a medical degree at 21? Let's hear it from yourself.
I think the age is not a factor. It's not a big factor per se, because being able to say I'm a medical doctor in itself, you're taking on a lot of responsibility. You have to be a bit of a role model in your community. You have to be a health promoter. Your life must be an example, you know. And with that, also the responsibility you have to carry people's lives in your hands. That's a lot of weight on one's shoulders, you know. And yeah, it's quite an honor and a huge responsibility, you know.
Yeah, I'm very interested to find out how your family's responded to everything that's taken place. I mean, for one, are you still expected to wash the dishes? Because, I mean, you're a medical doctor at 21. Surely there needs to be some exceptions about the life that you live at home.
Believe you me, I still wash the dishes. I still feed the dog. I remove the dog's feces. I was cleaning before I came for this interview. I'm still a regular human being at the end of the day, you know, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I wouldn't like to feel like I'm spectacular or anything.
Sure.
I like it the way it is.
Oh, okay. That's good, because my next question was going to be, does your family know who you are? I mean, you're being able to pull this off already isn't the kind of thing that many people can boast about. What's your relationship like with your siblings, if you've got any? Because, again, what comes with being related to someone like you is that the rest of us mere mortals have to try be excellent at something before we, I guess, dissolve into the background.
Well, I have two siblings. I have an older sister and an oldest sister. So my older sister is actually a medical doctor too, and she finished at 22, actually. She started working at 22 years old, so the gap isn't that much.
Your sister became a medical doctor at 22?
Yes.
What is in the cereal that you guys are eating? Wow, okay.
I don't know, but yeah, I'm just grateful, man. I actually have a number of doctors in my family. I have a cousin, Dr. Vivian Mzimba. She's a psychiatrist, she was actually one of my lecturers in school. It's in the family, and yeah, I really appreciate having such role models very nearby for us to see and wish to be like.
Yeah. What's really coming across is that environment matters. I'm sure your own talent is something that can't be ignored. But you'll also agree that being born into the family that you're born into and being surrounded by people who clearly have excellence as part of what they do counts too.
Yeah. And also, I have to mention, my classmate, Miss Mpumalanga-born Decent was also a medical doctor, and I think she's also 22. And yeah, it's amazing to see, man, people around me also succeeding in life. Just makes me want to do more, do better, and be better,
Absolutely.
so that I don't live down the expectations people have of me.
Yeah. Speaking of expectations, I, from my vantage point, have an expectation of what a 21-year-old typically does. I can see that fashion-wise, you're definitely still there with the durag and your cool Power Rangers T-shirt on. But, I mean, do you have the time to do typically what other 21-year-olds do, which, to be fair, is got a whole spectrum depending on what you like. But do you get a sense that you're still able to at least live out your young years despite how brilliant you obviously are?
Truthfully speaking, no, we don't have much time. I try to maximize the time I have, but I get to live vicariously through my friends. Social media has kept us so in touch. People post their statuses, and I feel glad. I feel like I'm actually part of the experience, But it is what it is. Sometimes you have to accept the cards you're dealt, and I wouldn't have it any other way, I guess.
Right. It does also, I guess, allow us to speak about some of the difficulties that often don't get highlighted at celebratory moments like this one. There's actually a lot of hard slog, which can get lonely at the top.
True. And, well, I wouldn't say I'm at the top per se, but like on the path to achieving great things, you have to isolate yourself and focus on your craft. It's one thing that we all have to take into consideration, that it's not all glitz and glamour when you're trying to achieve something,
Yeah. Let's speak about what your personal ambitions are. Typically people who are able to get things done want to do a whole lot more things. And I imagine this degree for you is only but a start.
Yes. So if you can see some of the interviews I did when I started medical school, I had aspirations of being an oncologist, which is a cancer specialist. But, that was from a place of not knowing what these people actually do. So in my medical school, I've gotten exposed to a variety of specialties in medicine. And that only made it worse because now I know there's a lot to do. And I feel like now, if I told you I want to do something specifically, I'd be lying to you, because I'm still eager in my internship to expose myself to as many things as possible and see the type of skills and qualities it needs to specialize in that, so that I can be sure when I decide to specialize in that, it will be something I'm willing to do for the rest of my life. So what's next for me is I'm going to do my internship in the local hospital, serve the community to the best of my ability. And when I finally decided that this is what I want to do, I'm going to delve fully into that. And then from there, we'll see what happens next.
Yeah. Well, it takes a lot of maturity and intelligence to actually figure out that you haven't made up your mind, even at the stage that you are with something like a medical degree. Let me ask what you've been able to observe within that industry that you're hoping will change as you enter it. I mean, we've spoken to young doctors in the past. None of them were 21, but alas. And, a lot of them have been able to identify things that they're hoping would change as they enter into the system. Is there anything in particular that you've come across that you're hoping you might be able to change for the better?
Yes, there are quite a few things, actually. I just don't want to put anyone on blast, but I'd just like to say I have friends who are studying in the University of Cape Town doing medicine as well. And when they tell us about their experiences, you get to realize that there's quite a discrepancy in terms of the resources they have there and the resources we have in Limpopo and Mpumalanga, for example. I just wish we had more equality in terms of the resources we could have in the same public hospitals, the same level of public hospitals, but we don't have the same amount of resources. And furthermore, we have less resources for more people, which is something that I don't understand, and I don't feel like it's fair and should still be going on in post-apartheid South Africa.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there are other 21-year-olds who are watching us who I imagine are nowhere near getting a medical degree but have personal ambitions nonetheless. You've been able to achieve quite a great feat so far. I mean, for those who are feeling despondent, people being bogged down by something like the pandemic, 21 is actually a very difficult year to be in because you're also coming into yourself, so to speak. As a man who from the outside appears to have figured it out, so to speak, what's your message to other 21-year-olds?
First and foremost, I have not figured it out, but I'm on the path to self-discovery, you know. And what I have to say, especially to young men, is know yourself, know what you stand for, and know what your goals are. And what comes with knowing what your goals are is how to get to them. And if you apply yourself, each and every single thing that you do, don't cheat yourself. Apply yourself to achieving your goals. There's nothing that will stop you. The universe will reward you for it, you know. Just stop doing drugs.
All right, there you go. 21-year-old Dr. Decent Mkhombo with a do-rag. I hope the waves are going well underneath that do-rag, and hopefully you'll not only be a medical doctor, but you'll look cool while doing it. Thanks very much indeed for speaking to us. Really do appreciate your time. So how's that, right? At 21, to be able to get a medical degree in an environment where, given what he's had to say, the resources weren't as abundant as was the case elsewhere in the country. So really big ups to Dr. Decent Mkhombo there. And once again, congratulations. And we only wish you the best here on Newsfeed AM.